Most of you. We do have some schools on Mountain Time here, so good morning to you. Good late morning. I want to welcome everyone to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. My name is Jerry Shockey. I oversee all the youth and educational programs here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And we're extremely excited to have you all tune in to this Heart of a Hall of Famer series featuring Pro Football Hall of Famer Mr. Dermontti Dawson. And I do know we have one veteran to it because they did the last program, but I think the other three schools are new to this program. And let me just say to you that the real idea and premise behind this Heart of the Hall of Famer series is really to convey what it took to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame beyond just the athletic ability. We shared with the earlier group that we know our Hall of Famers are great examples, phenomenal examples of athleticism and skill and talent and all those things. But it took so much more than that to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The pinnacle achievement that a individual football player can achieve is being enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It took those character qualities. Those were the glue that helped piece everything together to go on to a Hall of Fame career. The pillars that you guys are studying: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, citizenship. Those pillars are at the core of who our Hall of Famers are. And those aren't just character qualities to being a Hall of Fame player. They are character qualities to being a Hall of Famer in everyday life. Whether it's at your house with your families, whether it's at the school with your peers, whether it's at your church, whether it's in your community, whatever it might be. Those are the cores of success, if you will. So we're really excited to give you the opportunity to talk with one of the greatest football players ever and to play. But Mr. Dawson is a great example of this, and you'll find with many of our Hall of Famers that their off-the-field careers are as remarkable, or if not in some cases even more remarkable than their on-the-field careers. And you'll see the success that Mr. Dawson has had off the field as well. But before we get started and ask Mr. Dawson for his opening remarks and me introduce him, there are a number of key folks. It took a team, it took pretty much a football team to put this program together, and we would be remiss if we did not thank them for their service. And first and foremost, the San Diego Community College District there in San Diego. Thank you again, Chris and Caesar, for opening up your doors and allowing us to host Mr. Dawson in your studio so we can connect him out to students across the country. So this definitely wouldn't have been possible without you. And then thanks to our friends at Terraces Networks. They are hosting, helping facilitate host sites for us, like SDCCD there, for a number of our guys across the country, including a bunch coming up in California, actually, over the next month or two. So thanks to Rick Edson and Eric Rowe. Thank you for your help in making these connections possible. eTech Ohio, our friends there that are probably tuning in and watching, that are doing all the bridging for this conference. Mark and Paul and Josh and all the other folks there. Kenny, thank you for your help in making this possible. We obviously have to thank you teachers, because you have done the legwork, coordinated the time, done the preparatory materials, all corresponded with me how many numerous times, and troubleshot as well the technology. So we appreciate your perseverance and your determination to making this connection possible. But last but definitely not least, as we did earlier, we have to thank the students, because you're the stars of the show. You are the ones that are going to be driving the program, so to speak, today. So we're really excited to give you the opportunity to ask Mr. Dawson questions. But before we go to Mr. Dawson's intro and everything else, what I would like to do is allow all the schools to give a little shout out, show some school spirit. So I'm going to, in a second here, I'm going to ask each school to unmute their microphones and give a little shout out. So all the schools can see you, and Mr. Dawson can see you as well. So again, we're going back. I think they have a new group of students in there, but we'll go to South Euclid, Memorial Junior High. Go ahead and give a shout out. There you go. The video just switched over. Good. There we go, Memorial. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. And let's see if they got connected. Wolf Point, did you get connected? Wolf Point, Montana. Okay. Well, while you guys are asking questions, I'll try and give them a call and see if we can get them connected. But you know what? If they don't get connected, that means the other three schools, that means more questions for you guys, right? So that works out well for all of you. Let's go to Catlin Arts Magnet in Omaha, Nebraska. Whoa! Very good. Thank you, Calvin. We appreciate it. And definitely last but definitely not least, Martin Luther King Jr. Career Campus in Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Mr. Dawson, we even got folks from Cleveland tuning in to watch us Steelers
All
today.
right.
So,
all right.
There we go. So, thank you very much. Well, let me get to the introduction of our guest speaker here today, and that's Pro Football Hall of Famer Mr. Dermontti Dawson, and we'll recognize him in two different ways: his on-the-field achievements and his off-the-field achievements. And first, the on-the-field. He was a Steelers second-round draft pick. He was the 44th player overall in the 1988 NFL Draft. He became the starting center in 1989, replacing future Hall of Famer, and now is Hall of Famer, obviously, Mike Webster, named co-AFC Offensive Lineman of the Year by the NFL Players Association in 1993. He was selected as NFL Alumni Offensive Lineman of the Year in 1996. He played in, now get this, as a center, this is really remarkable, played in 170 consecutive games. He was named first team All-Pro 6 consecutive years. He was selected to play in 7 consecutive Pro Bowls, and he was born in Lexington, Kentucky. And then obviously in 2012, just recently, it was the most recent class that got enshrined. He was enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is the highest honor that an individual player can receive, as being enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Off the field, he has been involved with his work career. He's a VP currently. He's a VP of sales for Primetime West, and they're a promotional and product and business company, and he's been there since 2010. He partnered with the Star Pass Sports Management Group, representing athletes for the National Football League as well as Major League Baseball, and he started that just last year. He's got hobbies, obviously, as we all do, and he's an outdoorsman. He's hunting, fishing, and golfing. He's been involved. He's received a number of awards and recognitions, but also been involved with a number of organizations. And I think you'll see a theme here of who he's really passionate about. But University of Kentucky Philanthropist of the Year in 2001, University of Kentucky College of Education Alumni, HOF, 2003, Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame in 2003, University of Kentucky Alumni Association Hall of Distinguished Alumni in 2005, University of Kentucky Board of Trustee member from 2005 to 2011, and the University of Kentucky Athletic Board as well from 2005 to 2011. Obviously, heavily involved, but that's where he did his undergrad at, and he got a BA in education from Kentucky University, or the university. Excuse me. Let me not state that the wrong way. The University of Kentucky. As well as he's been involved with one of the things that we really like to share with our Hall of Famers is that off the field you'll find that they're involved with so many different organizations. So when you talk about that pillar of caring and citizenship, you'll see that displayed in a lot of our Hall of Famers off the field careers. An example of that is with Mr. Dawson. He's been involved with the Boys and Girls Club, Visually Impaired Preschool Services, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the American Heart Association, and the Junior Seau Foundation. And I heard somebody just get tuned in. Was that by chance? Would that have been our folks at Wolf Point? Did you guys get connected?
Yes.
Okay, great. Glad you guys are connected. Go ahead and mute there. We'll get back to you guys in just a second. So, with that being said, what I'd like to do for you guys is share with you guys a little snippet of Mr. Dawson's playing career.
After replacing Hall of Famer Mike Webster, Dermontti Dawson was the anchor of the Steelers' offensive line during his 13-year career. Number 63 blocked for 6 1,000-yard rushers and was named to the Pro Bowl 7 consecutive times. In 1994 and 1997, Dawson helped pave the way for a Steelers run game that led the NFL in rushing yards. Dawson ended his career with 170 consecutive starts and was named the center on the 1990s All-Decade team.
So if all these students would join me and unmute your microphones here for just a second and join me in giving a warm round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer Mr. Dermontti Dawson.
Good morning. Well, hey, good morning, guys, and happy Valentine's to you guys. Hey, I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to be part of your project here, A Person of Character. And I would like to, start out by saying that, throughout my whole career, I've been in athletics for a long period of time. But, some of the characteristics that we're going to talk about today, I have tried to incorporate those into my everyday life, whether it be job, also with when I was playing football. And, I've had great success, and I've also had failures, but I still try to stick to the core principles of character to kind of guide me through, life, whether it be good or bad, situations. But I just want to thank you guys for allowing me this opportunity to, be a part of your discussion, and I look forward to answering some of your questions as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dawson. We appreciate your opening remarks. And students, since you're all new to this, what we're going to do, well, except for Memorial, obviously, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate through as many times as we can. We'll go one question throughout, and just keep rotating through as many times as we can. We'll start with Memorial, then go Wolf Point, Catlin, and then Martin Luther King. We just go by order of registration. And what we would like to do is, what I encourage you guys to do is to ask those tough questions, about his life experiences. Here's someone that has achieved greatness on and off the field. It's not many times that you get to, not only greatness, but I mean, you start talking about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you're talking about the pinnacle of greatness in football. But, you get the opportunity to ask him questions. What drove him? What did he do in middle school and high school to prepare? How did he prepare in college? What obstacles did he face? Was he ever tempted with peer pressure? All these sorts of questions are great questions for you all to ask. And I encourage you to ask those questions because it's your chance to learn something from someone who's experienced a lot in life and has a lot to offer each and every one of you. One ground rule, though, is please keep your microphones muted until we call upon you. You all have been doing that, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Just because we want to eliminate any background noise as Mr. Dawson has given his response to your questions. But also, even immediately after you ask your question, if you can go ahead and mute immediately after you ask that way we can eliminate any background noise as well from his response too. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to start the program off with Memorial Junior High. And go ahead, Memorial, with your first question. Start the program off.
Who was your inspirational person to play football?
Well, my inspirational person for football was my high school football coach. I was not going to play high school football. I did not play high school football my 10th grade year, so I was a track guy and also wrestled. And my high school football coach, his name is Steve Parker, he was the one who convinced me to go out along with two of my high school track mates. And he was the guy who was instrumental in getting me to go out for football. And then after I ended up playing 2 years of high school football, I started my junior year. I ended up obtaining a scholarship to several colleges, and I chose the University of Kentucky. And then I didn't start until my junior season in college as well. And then I played well enough my junior and senior year that I was drafted in the second round by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and therefore I went on to have a 13-year career with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Steve Parker was instrumental. He was the driving force who convinced me to try out for football my junior year in high school. So that's how it all started.
And so inspirational that Mr. Dawson, that was his presenter. You think about the biggest moment in his football career being enshrined in the Hall of Fame, and he chose that coach to present him into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So
it was only fitting.
Someone who had obviously a lasting, not an impact on his football career, but I can guarantee you that Mr. Dawson can share that his advice and help has carried well beyond his days of football, just in life in general. So with that being said, let's move on to Wolf Point, Montana. Go ahead.
Stand up and ask it loud, Joe.
If you could go back in your childhood, what would you do differently?
If I were to go back in my childhood, what would I do differently? I don't know if I would do anything differently in my childhood. I grew up and I'm the oldest of four boys, and my mom was a nurse. My dad worked at IBM, but I don't think that I would go back and change anything in my childhood because I had a great childhood growing up, great family. I think maybe the only thing that I would change would be that my father was an alcoholic during those very early years from middle school, well, really elementary school, all the way until I got to college. It would have been nice to have seen him at some of my sporting events and have him there. But he finally got his life back together in 1983-84, where he was able to attend my college football games and also on to the next level, the pro level. But, other than that, that would be maybe the only thing that I would change in my childhood.
Thank you very much, Wolf Point. Another great question. And let's go to Nebraska. Omaha, let's go to Catlin.
What does it take to make it to college and NFL, and how did your character help you through your life goals?
You know what? Can you speak up a little bit?
What does it take to make it to college and the NFL?
Well, no matter what you do, whether it be, school to a job, in order to excel, you have to be diligent and hardworking. That is key. You got to be a hard worker. You got to be dedicated. And I think that goes across the board in any field that you may pursue, whether it be middle school going to high school. You guys have to do well in school and get grades to make it to the next level, to go to high school and on to college. And it's just paramount that that you're dedicated to doing your homework. And I just think hard work and dedication will get you much further and help you achieve some of your goals that you guys want to achieve.
Thank you very much, Catlin. And let's go to Cleveland, Ohio. Martin Luther King.
In regards to some of your documented problems reported in the media, how have you used negative experience in your life to learn and grow from?
Well, I think when you encounter negative events in your life, you can look at it. You can look at it either way. You can look at it as woe is me, or that I'm going to get out of this and make a better life for myself and learn from my mistakes. And, that's what I try to do. I am the ultimate optimist. I see the glass half full as opposed to half empty. And I think you have to be able to do that in order to achieve. But you also have to have a short memory as well, because, if you dwell on the past and some of the things that have happened to you in the past that are bad, and sometimes we tend to hang on to those things, and it prevents us from moving on and achieving greater things, because you learn great lessons in bad things that happen in your life, and that prompts you to potentially not, repeat the same, thing that had happened to you. As far as it could be an experience. My father, growing up, he was an alcoholic, and so I vowed not to drink because my dad was an alcoholic, and I saw all the trauma where he was almost on his deathbed. And he finally got his life together, but I chose and vowed not to drink due to just growing up and seeing that and how my father was. But those are some of the things you can do. But you learn from good and bad, and it just makes you a better person and a more well-rounded person, and you know how to handle different adverse situations along with the good things that are going on in your life as well.
And I think you brought up a good point there, Mr. Dawson, because the bottom line is we're all going to make mistakes, and that's just
yes.
We're human. We're human. We are going to make mistakes. Sometimes bigger mistakes than other people might make, but nonetheless, we're all going to make mistakes.
Yes.
And you learn how to bounce back from those, and all that. As a person with sound character and integrity and moral values, when you do something wrong. You know, we shared with
Yes.
Mr. Dawson shared with us the last time. You know when you do something wrong, and you know we all do things wrong, but we know how to correct it. We already know how to correct it before it even happens. I mean, we shouldn't have done it, but we did it, and now we need to accept the consequences of it, if there are consequences of it, and learn how to move on. As Mr. Dawson said, have a short-term memory too. I mean, you always want to know that you did that and never want to do it again, but don't beat yourself over with it. You know, it happened. It's part of life. You're going to make mistakes. Learn, move on, and be done with it. So I think that's great advice that Mr. Dawson has given you guys. Memorial, let's go back to you.
How do you inspire people?
How do I inspire people?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I always try to, you know, talk to people and inspire people by just asking certain questions about, you know, what are their goals in life, you know, and just try to encourage those guys to continue to move forward and better your education or continue your education. You know, go to high school, don't drop out of school, go to college, and find something that you're passionate about. As far as a degree in college, you know, and not everybody is made for college. You know, I tell kids that not everybody likes college, but you know, you can find a trade out there, and you can be successful doing anything as long as you're content doing what you're doing and you're happy with that. I just try to encourage the positive things that people, the interest that kids or adults, and you know, show a little compassion and just try to, you know, lift them up and not preaching. But that's the way I like to encourage people to help lift them up.
And you know, you speak about a trade. You had a trade that you might have went into if you didn't go into pro football. What's the thing? What's something you like to do?
Yeah, you know, my when I didn't know, my parents couldn't afford to send me to college, so I was a national woodworker. I ended up making some furniture, and I won some national awards for my furniture. But growing up, I learned how to do electrical work, plumbing, roofing, and carpentry. So my thing, I thought I wanted to be either a woodworker or go into carpentry because I love doing things with my hands. And you know, that's a very honorable, you know, career. So that was what I really wanted to pursue. But life took a different turn. I was able to get a scholarship to college. I graduated college, and then my life went on to the pros. So you know, you're always going to have things that don't go the way you think they're going to go in life, but you just keep moving forward and make the best of each opportunity.
Oh, sorry, I have my mic still muted.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you, Mr. Dawson. Let's go to Wolf Point.
If you could have done something different during your football career, what would it be?
If I could have done something different in my football career, are you talking about the pros or college?
Pros.
Pros? You know, hey, I would not do anything different with my pro career. You know, because I had great success in Pittsburgh. You know, I was originally drafted as a guard, and then I started to guard my rookie year, and then my second year, Chuck Noll switched me to center to take over Mike Webster's spot. But you know, I would not change anything as far as my pro career is concerned, because you know, I had great success, and I never ever thought that I would be in this situation where the ultimate accolade for an NFL player is being enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I never thought of myself in that way. But even though, you know, from an early time when I first started playing, I guess my rookie and my second year, every year I always set goals. And the one good thing I can say is that I never rested on my laurels. You know, I never, whatever I accomplished that prior season, I always set goals the following season, and no matter what accolades, you know, that was then. You still have to prepare for the next year, because you either get worse or you get better. You never stay the same. So you always have to set those short-term and long-term goals for yourself. But I would not change one single thing when it comes to my professional football career. I was truly blessed.
Mr. Dawson, you talk about accolades and you talk about some of the achievements you've had, some of the awards, obviously being enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Not everyone gets enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Not everyone wins a Super Bowl. Not everyone gets an A on the test. Not everyone gets that promotion in their job. What do you have to say to these students as they face these, these obstacles or these setbacks, if you will, possibly if you look at it that way? What do you have to say to these students that maybe busted his or her tail off to get this A or get this promotion or to get this, and they didn't get it? What do you have to say to them?
And it doesn't come full circle. But, you still have to strive, to be the best. And, and you just have to be determined. We're not all going to, get straight A's. We're not always going to be the best in what we do. But as long as you enjoy and have the love and compassion for whatever it is you're doing, whether it be work or sports, we all can accomplish as long as we do just give it our 100% and do the best that we're able to do in preparation and then actually going out and doing it. That's pretty much all you can ask, just give it 100%. If you gave 100% and you're satisfied, then it is what it is. But you still can't because you're not reaching a certain level, maybe if you're comparing yourself to somebody else and how they're excelling. You just have to be happy within what your capabilities are, and you just have to keep moving forward because not everybody achieves at the same level. And just stay the course. And as long as you're content, that is the most important thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dawson. And let's go to Catelyn.
What encouraged you to do your best in school and in football?
Well, my mother and my parents were a big influence on me because when I came home from school, I was never allowed to go outside if I had homework. Homework was first. And, my parents instilled that I had to do what was most important first, and that was the homework because, my education was first. And even when I went to college, I graduated early. I was redshirted, so I had the luxury of being able to graduate early and then also taking graduate courses. But, it's just one of those things where you just have to, do your best. I mean, not everybody learns at the same pace or level. And, you just have to keep plugging away. Don't get discouraged. And eventually success, will follow you. And that's the most important thing. Just never give up. Never give up and keep pressing forward.
Great advice. Thank you, Catelyn. I keep wanting to call you Caitlin. Catelyn. Let's go to Martin Luther King Jr., Cleveland.
If Steve Parker, Mark Logan, and Cornell Burbage were never a part of your life, how differently do you think your life would have been?
If I didn't have those guys, Coach Parker and Mark Logan and Cornell Burbage in my life, I'm really not for sure. I still, they were just the ones who convinced me to try out for football. But I was still determined, my goal, if it wasn't for football, athletic-wise, was to go to the Olympics. Because I was a track guy in high school as well. And I did shot and discus in high school, and I won the state and went undefeated in the state my junior and senior season. And so I had a lot of track scholarships, and then I had a lot of coaches that thought I would be a great javelin thrower because of my speed and strength. And so therefore, at first my focus was on the Olympics. So, it may have went a different route, maybe track and field as opposed to football. but and that may have been maybe the only difference of how my life would have been different. And it would have been different, I wouldn't be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it could have taken a different turn, but it would probably would have been either track related or also me wanting to be a carpenter and woodworker.
And I think it's so important for students to realize, everybody needs someone, a shoulder to lean on, all throughout life.
Oh yeah.
And every area of life. And it's I don't want to say it's funny, it's a lack of a better word, but it seems strange to me that, as athletes in high school, you have trouble with a foul shooting or something like that, you have no problem going to your coach saying, "Hey, coach, I need to work on foul shots. Let's work on foul shots." But for some reason, if we have trouble in a class, in a science area or a math area, we don't think, whether it's because they're not perceived as cool or whatever, we don't get the help. And it just seems crazy to me that we don't. And I was guilty of it as well when I was in school. Can you say anything to that, Mr. Dawson?
Yeah, never be afraid to ask for help, and I know, a lot of kids in school, if they're not doing well in a certain subject, they're always afraid that they're going to be ridiculed by their peers, for getting help or getting a tutor. But, never be afraid to ask for help. We all need help at times because we're not all the smartest in every subject. I was chemistry and math. I hated English, so therefore I had help with English. But never be afraid or embarrassed to ask for help, because the only person you're really hurting is yourself. Because if you don't ask for help and you're struggling in a certain subject, and now you're trying to go take the SAT and you're trying to get into college, and now your scores aren't as high as they should be, then you're only hurting yourself. So it never hurts, and never be embarrassed or afraid to ask for help, because just like in sports, hey, we all have weaknesses that things we don't do very well, and in order to hone those, we're kind of creatures of habit. We like to do the things we do well, but we don't like to work on the things we do bad. And the only way to make yourself a better, well-rounded person, school or athletics, is to ask for help. So I would encourage all of the kids that if you are weak in one subject, please go get help, because it's only going to help enhance you and give you a better chance when you take it to the next level, whether it be middle school, high school, or college. So never be afraid to ask for help.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Memorial. If you have a question, go ahead.
I was reading up on you, and it says that you live up to the 6 pillars, and one of them is respect. And it says you have to respect yourself to respect others. So if someone doesn't respect you, would you respect them back?
Yeah, and it can be hard to not respect somebody who shows you no respect, but you have to be the bigger person as well. And I talked. They used to call me Ned Flanders when I played in Pittsburgh. Levon Kirkland, one of our middle backers, because I'm always talking to everybody, and people say I don't meet a stranger, because I'll say hello to anybody, whether they talk to me back or not. But if they don't show me respect, as long as they're not physically doing anything to me, of course, you have to defend yourself if somebody's trying to do something to you physically. But just because they're not showing you respect, and that could be just disregarding you. If you say something to them, you just keep on walking on, and you don't worry about it. So, you just keep on moving forward. Don't worry about those guys. And you can be the nicest guy in the world, and they just don't know what opportunity they, had to meet a good person, a good, kind-hearted person, and it's their loss. So you just keep moving on and just keep pressing forward.
That was a great question. A really interesting question that you asked there, Memorial.
It was.
So, great. Let's go to Wolf Point.
Player safety is a major concern in the NFL today. If it was an issue when you were in high school and college, would it affect your decision to keep playing? And do you encourage your kids to keep playing football or to play football?
Well, I mean, you can get hurt playing any sport, whether it be, football, soccer, basketball. We know that football is a high collision type of a sport and a very physical sport. My son played football in high school, also track. My daughter played softball and basketball. And, they got hurt as well. And I think if you really have a love and a passion for a certain sport, then I think, you should play it and don't worry about injuries. I think when you worry about injuries, that's when you're more susceptible to being injured. You go out there and you give 100% and, whatever happens, because sometimes we are going to get injured. And it may not be your fault. It may be somebody else that accidentally injures you. But yeah, you can't be afraid to participate in things that are physical, like sports. You just have to keep pressing forward. And I don't think that would have deterred me from playing football or track or anything else I did, wrestle. So yeah, I don't think it would deter me from doing it again.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Catlin.
How much did you need to trust your teammates? What would make you distrust your teammates?
How much did I trust my teammates, and what would make me distrust them?
Yes.
Could you repeat that one?
Yes. How much did you?
Could you repeat it?
Yeah. How much did you need to trust your teammates? What would make you distrust your teammates?
Well, when you play a team sport, you have to trust in your teammates because each of us have certain assignments that we have to carry out to make, a play successful and also to give us the best opportunity to win the game. So, unless the only way that I would lose distrust in one of my fellow teammates is if, looking at him and he is not doing the small things and preparing the right way to help give us a better chance of winning. Because we're all, in football and basketball, it's a team sport, baseball, everybody has to play a certain role. And when that person is the weakest link and he's not preparing and getting himself to the point where he's giving us an opportunity to win, then that's when you don't have to certainly distrust him, but I think that's when you need to address the issue with him to let him know that he is the weak link and he is preventing us, or he could prevent us from reaching our full potential because he's not doing the things he needs to do to prepare to give you overall, the team, a best chance to win. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Another great question there. Let's go, Martin Luther King.
In your Hall of Fame speech, you said, "Do everything with a purpose." Was a life lesson you tried to live by. What advice can you give a young person who may not yet know their purpose?
Who may not yet know their purpose? Well,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where you have to find something that you're interested in. You just have to have it. I know everybody's got a passion for something that interests those guys, that interests you. Whether it be being a vet, being a doctor. You just have to find something that you really enjoy and something that you want to pursue and it makes you happy. Not, like I said once before, not everybody is going to be college material. There are great trades and stuff out there that are, that you can pursue. But I just say, just find something that you really enjoy, and it's not a grind where you go in to work each and every day, just can't wait and waiting to get off work because that's not a fun situation to be in. But you just have to find something that you're passionate about.
And I have to make comment to Martin Luther King too. Is that man? All the questions have been very impressive, but obviously Martin Luther King, he did some digging on Mr. Dawson's background and watched his induction speech between your last question and this question. So I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed with all the students' questions here today. So I think if this is a sign of what's to come of our future, we are. It's definitely looking up. So all the students have represented themselves very well. We still got about, looks like about 19, 18 minutes left, so we might be able to make it through one or two more times here. Let's go to Memorial Junior High.
Were you satisfied when you got to the Hall of Fame?
Was I satisfied when I got to the Hall of Fame? Well, yeah, I can say that I was truly satisfied because, for football, for professional football, being enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the ultimate accolade. And, because you're enshrined forever for people to see your bust and memorabilia and just about your career and what you accomplished. So I was truly satisfied when I was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, or selected to be enshrined to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's the ultimate honor for an NFL player.
And I'm sure I can speak on behalf of our staff. We're certainly glad and to have someone of the caliber of Mr. Dawson, both on and off the field, his caliber. So we're glad to have him a part of our team here in Canton, Ohio, as well.
And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Let's go to Wolf Point.
What have you accomplished since retirement?
What have I accomplished during retirement?
Since retirement?
Oh, what have I accomplished since retirement?
Yes.
I think that was a question. Since retirement, I was in commercial development for 10 years, and then when in 2007, 2008, I had to get out of commercial development, and I went into coaching. So I was doing an internship for personnel and scouting in Pittsburgh, and then in 2010, I was coaching with the Cincinnati Bengals. And then I took a job after I was not signed to a contract out here in San Diego with Primetime West, which is a promotional product and business gift company. So, and then we also have a sports agency, and we're getting ready for the 2013 draft. But I've had several different positions through after retirement, but all of them are very fulfilling, and I try to apply some of the principles of character towards my work ethic and everything else, and being disciplined, and operating with a sense of integrity, and then also trying to get involved in the community. So I am very pleased how things have gone since I did retire from the NFL.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Catlin.
When did you first notice your talent? How did you use character to develop your talents?
Well, the way I use character to develop my talents, when you talk about, character, we're talking about integrity and being honorable. I try to carry myself a certain way, and I think people see it when they see you. They know that you are acting with integrity and being honorable. Also, accountability is everything when it comes to sports, whatever profession you decide to go into. Being accountable, accepting the consequences, whether they're right or wrong, and just being a stand-up person. I've used all of those because those are some of the things that help me excel in football as well. Because people can really tell when you are being sincere, and some of these traits that you encompass and that you use and try to apply, to your everyday life or anything, whatever you're trying to accomplish. And that's what I try to do. I try to, have those pillars of character influence some of my decision making. And it's carried me a long way. Just just been, treating people the way you want to be treated, the old golden rule. I think that is a lost art because you see a lot of people that, don't treat people the right way. Just show a little compassion and empathy for people, and general concern for people. And I think, some of that human aspect we've kind of lost because we're always in such a rush. And, I do that all the time. I try to give money to the homeless and, and people can see what kind of person you are, the way you treat other people, and, people are looking at you, especially me in my position, being an ex-NFL football player, and people like to see, okay, is this guy for real? I mean, is he putting on a show? But, I try to, just be a well-rounded person and try to exemplify, some of the 6 pillars of character in my life each and every day.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Martin Luther King.
Do you remember when your first NFL game and what happened during that game?
Well, my first NFL game was in 1988. I couldn't tell you the date, but that was probably one of the most exciting times for me. Coming out of college, I played in a few preseason games, but really it's not the same atmosphere as a regular season game would be. So when I ran out of the tunnel, and you see all the cannons going off and all the confetti and the crowd, and I played in Pittsburgh, so you had the terrible towels. For me, that was just a tremendous feeling that I'll never ever forget. Just being in that kind of atmosphere, with the diehard Steelers fans in Pittsburgh.
I'm curious,
Who'd you play
Mr.
against?
Dawson.
What was
go
that
ahead,
game
I'm sorry.
against? What team was that team against? Who'd you play against?
I can't remember the first game in 1988 who I played against. They all run together.
There's a research question for the students at Martin Luther King. Find
I
out.
think it was Dermontti, I think it was against the Cleveland Browns. That's why we're asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, I'm not for sure, guys. I'll have to go back and see what the schedule. Did they beat us or did we win?
You lost 51-0. It's the worst franchise loss in Pittsburgh.
Oh, so that was that game, huh? Well, hey, guys, we were not that good. We were not that good in 1988.
Those were the tail end of the good Chuck Noll years.
Yeah.
So, thank you. That's kind of a loaded question there, Martin Luther King.
And I thought
Let's go to Memorial. Oh, we're still in Cleveland. South Euclid. Let's see if they'll throw a loaded question out there.
All right.
Do you have any inspiration now?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Do you have any inspiration now?
Do I have any inspiration to do what?
Aspiration.
Oh, aspiration. Oh, well, hey, I tell you what. Yeah, we have a sports agency, and I am in the process of, we're just trying to make our sports agency representing some of the Major League Baseball guys, NBA, and NFL. We want to make our agency, one of the top-notch agencies in the country. But, basically, business-wise, my aspirations are just to, be a successful businessman. And that's basically it, and a good father. My kids, I've got a son who is 22 and a daughter 19. Son just graduated college, and my daughter is in her second year of pharmacy at the University of Kentucky. So, I just want to be, just a well-rounded person and continue to have success in business and raise my kids.
Thank you very much. Let's go with Wolf Point.
What was the hardest thing mentally you had to get through in your football career?
What was the hardest thing I had to get through in my football career?
Mentally.
Mentally? Well,
yes.
I think the hardest thing mentally for me to get through my football career was pretty much probably my first year. because coming out of college, you know that you have a job. You're on scholarship, so there's not a day-to-day evaluation like it is in the pros. And the NFL stands for not for long. So, you have that camera on you each and every day. So there's a lot of pressure to perform. And once you perform to a high, at a high level, then you can't drop off because the coaches say, well, you can perform at this level, so you have to continue at that level. So it's a pressure cooker because you have a lot of guys coming out of college. You have some guys who are on the bench that are probably just as good as you, that are, I always say they're in the shadows waiting to take your spot, to wait for you to get hurt. So you always have to continue to improve and, continue to play consistent. And it's more a mental game on the professional level as opposed to the college level. So that was the middle part of the thing that I think was a hard transition coming from, well, it wasn't a hard transition. I'm willing to work. I was willing to work and do anything I needed to do to keep my position and to continue to improve as a player on my weaknesses and continue to work on my strengths as well. But, you see a lot of guys that come into the league and they think because they made it that they're there and that they're going to have a long career. That's not the case. Making it to the NFL is that's the easy part. Maintaining and having longevity is the hard part. So I just try to work each and every game. And I tell you what, and it's tough because it's a week-to-week evaluation. They're always trying to upgrade talent. So the mental aspect of it was the biggest thing for me my rookie season.
And I think that brings up an interesting point too, as well, is that it can also work in favor for it. And Mr. Dawson had obviously followed up a Hall of Famer in Mike Webster, and had the opportunity, had some big shoes to fill. So obviously face pressure there. But for those of you that might be sitting behind someone, whether it's in high school or whatever it might be, whatever sport you might be playing, is being willing to prepare and work just as hard even though you're not starting, because you never know when that opportunity is going to arise. And the best example I can think of right now that you students are definitely aware of is a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Here is someone that was following up Brett Favre. People in Green Bay don't even know who Brett Favre is anymore because they're so sold on Aaron Rodgers. But if he did not work that hard behind the scenes, even though he wasn't getting to start, he would have never gone on to the greatness that he's gone on to, and some will argue over 2 years might be the greatest spurt that a quarterback has ever had in NFL history. And I think he's going to continue to go on. I think he's going to go on to a Hall of Fame career if he hasn't already come close to solidifying a Hall of Fame career already. Even if you're sitting behind the shadows of someone, being willing to work just as hard as if you are the starter, because you never know when you will be and when you're called upon, when those injuries and, as Mr. Dawson said, some of the other things that can happen or just get released or whatever, especially at the pro ranks. So being prepared. I think go to Catlin.
Who was your role model growing up? What characteristics did you admire about him or her?
My role model growing up was my mom. And the characteristic that I, really enjoyed about my mom, and this was due when I was growing up, and my dad, when I was younger, was an alcoholic. And, my mom had 4 boys, and my dad was out of the house. And so she had to contend with, dealing with my dad and his alcoholism. And so, I looked up to my mom because my mom, she was a strong woman. She was a nurse. She worked, sometimes nights, sometimes, regular hours, 9 to 5. But, I looked at my mom and the perseverance and the way she conducted herself and kept moving forward, trying to raise 4 boys. So, I admire my mom. She's always been there for me. And, my dad now is in my life. He's been in my life since 1983 and 84, where he finally, became sober. And now you look at him, he's about to turn 70, May 29th. and you would not think that he was even an alcoholic, almost on his deathbed. But I look at, my mom was my biggest hero, and my grandmother as well, because they were both my support and my rock when I was growing up, during those important years when my dad wasn't there.
And thank you very much. And let's go to, looks like we got just a few minutes left, so we'll make this the last question of the program. Martin Luther King Jr., go ahead.
I read that you had a bad experience in the 9th grade with 9th grade football, and that you didn't play your 10th grade year. Can you elaborate on what actually happened your 9th grade year?
Well, my 9th grade year, I went out for football for the first time. I was a tight end in middle school. And of course, it's hot doing football practice, and that was the first time I really played football. But, I didn't start in any games, and I was a blocking dummy. And of course, I missed quite a few practices, so that may be another reason why I didn't get a chance to play in many games. So, that was just the experience I had my 9th grade year, where I just really didn't enjoy football. I was playing baseball at the time, so I enjoyed baseball and track better than football. That was the reason why I decided not to play when I went to high school, because I just didn't enjoy football at that time.
Dermontti? Hey, the question about, this is Mr. Cobb, Martin Luther King, the question about your first game in 1988, that was kind of mine. I got to take a shot at you, being a Cleveland fan.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
But actually, in 1988, you beat the Cowboys the first game, but 89 was the first year you played center, correct?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and that was the 51-0.
That was a 51-0 at Three Rivers. I didn't think it was my rookie year.
No, it was your second year.
It was the second year.
But hey, we love you. Love the games playing against you guys, and we love the rivalry.
Hey, I know. Hey, it hasn't been the same since Cleveland went to Baltimore, and we got the new Browns in Cleveland now. It's not the same.
Right. Yep. Thank you, Dermontti.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Martin Luther King. Mr. Dawson, you've talked about a lot of different things here today. Is there anything you'd either A, like to reiterate, or B, that maybe you didn't touch on that you'd like to share with these students to close the program?
Well, I just like to encourage all the students, hey, just have a passion for what you're doing, enjoy what you're doing, and you just have to keep pressing forward. You're going to have adversity throughout your life. You're going to have successes, but you still have to keep a positive attitude and keep pressing forward. Whether it's negative or positive, because you do learn how to deal with certain situations. If you have a negative situation, and also you learn how to handle success, and you just have to keep things in perspective, keep pressing forward, and that's it.
And students, if you can all unmute your mics for a second and join me in saying thank you and give them one round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Dermontti Dawson.
Thank you, guys.
And again, Mr. Dawson, like I said earlier, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day to share your message with these students. I don't think we could have a better ambassador of someone of high character than someone like yourself. Students, we need to say thank you to all of you. Man, I'm blown away by the questions here today. You guys did an awesome job.
Great questions.
Preparing, and just like I said, if this is any sign as to how our future is going to be with youth, we're looking good. We are looking good right now. So we definitely appreciate that. And again, we got to say thank you to San Diego Community College District, as well as our friends at the Terraces Networks and E-Tech, all those folks. Thank you so much for making this possible, and this concludes our program. Take care. Dermontti, thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
And Dermontti, who's all in there with you?